countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science.
Warning. The following are thoughts and opinions that belong to 4chan and Reddit. They do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge. This is for entertainment purposes only.
X/is in the Epstein files. Yes, actually. Not a joke. Source: https://www.justice.gov/epstein/files/dataset%sign 209/f-012496555.pdf. The archived thread it refers to, https://archive.4plebs.org/x/thread/254097898. What do you make of it? He was also looking up that anon from /x/ who claimed to work for him and even watched the YouTube video. Take a look. Top kek. Wait, federal agents are dead ass active on 4chan? I don't know, it was a good post. Did you know the federal government is required to read your shitposts and green texts? So wait, was that thread and the anon who claimed Epstein was dead hours before the news broke were legit? 4chan threads and YouTube videos being used in federal documents is so fucking stupid, oh my god. Real. Obfuscation. Bureaucratic nonsensical policy. Metatroll. At least it's hilarious when it happens. Plenty of folk can see every post you've ever made. You're not really anonymous, all your posts are tied to your IP. Even if you've used different computers, even if you change your IP, they can still just consult your ISP. They apply logic to things like the name of the person paying the ISP, their relatives, and living situations. If you stayed at a friend's house for a couple weeks, they'd still be able to figure out who wrote what and when. We see everything. It's like daycare. I understand why these rowdy tots need to be supervised. Never again. Yes. Glowies are Jannies. Epstein himself was searching this? No bro, don't worry, it's chill, I'm not the police. Not him. He died in 2019. He did goon it to Five Nights at Freddy's Futa and some generic Overwatch sexual fetish manga. It's not a secret that the elite run /x/, especially Nobody General. Why did Elon Musk name X.com after /x/? It's all secret messages. Nice digits. I sense a glow. Here's the thing, man. Everyone crawls and participates in this site. Okay, that's max entanglement and entropy. Two-way doors. Anyone with a brain knows that posting here. The data center is where? Virginia. Anyone in the world can post here. Sounds like the abyss with multiple entrances and exits. Those that descend down into lose the most than those natively in the space. Sounds stupid as fuck for people above a certain margin. Well, what if Satan for instance was sharing for reasons that undermine? Some goo in the abyss is floating around looking for those that seek it and entanglement happens. One of my gang stalkers was named Adam. Well, there was 3 of them, actually. And then what? Like, what is your point or conclusion if abyss? Hey FBI, if you're reading this, I have screenshots for you. More. Yeah, he's totally dead. Why are you on /x/ again? Confusing Leviathan for Chessie. Not gonna make it? That thread chain that the idiot nobody runs is one of the worst things to do for evil fuckheads. Those with bindings in the abyss. Institutions. Institutional powers. Fuckheads with negative agendas. It's like putting a big, kick me sign on and running through the abyss asking Satan to put his foot up your ass. But plebs think the opposite. Listen bud, you can't draw from the abyss in exploitative ways without it binding to you and anyone associated. There are no outs or spells to protect you. So, doing that type of shit every day will undo any of the plans that it was created for. If a fool wants to do that and tempt the abyss, every day. An institution/institutional power. They end up winding satanic kliputh all of themselves and everything it runs through. This is the part that arrogant power/dominion seekers don't see. They can't given their disposition. I feel bad for such people given the cosmic consequence. Playing with fire and never thinking you're gonna get burned. So why be upset? Every thread I see people entangling knots all over it. You can't control such chaos. It consumes and devours you. Who invited it gets it. Who participates is pouring it in. They are far less entangled. They are almost offloading. This is Abyss 101. So, ultimately it's stupid and costly and there is no possible way to extract more value out than cost. Thanks for the humor. I will continue posting here dropping diamonds. Even worse, they don't do anything with it. You'd think they'd at least pass on some ideas to the entertainment or tech industries, but that's too much effort I guess. He named after the game about alien invasion Anon. Always have been. Looking for the screenshot from the court case from Infinity Chan showing the glowy replying to himself. A damn. A flood. A damned bloodline. Opens the floodgates to hell. Revelation Scriptures Ezekiel 47 River of Life Temple on Earth. The SquareMagazine.com article The 47th Problem of Euclid. Motherfucking footy Sven. The problem is there's something twisted about the flow. Oh no. LovecraftFandom.com Wiki Kliputh. Excursion. We couldn't account for something as we squared the circle with Aaron's rod. It is reported that the rod was made of sapphire, weighed 40 Cs, a C equals 10.70 pounds, and bore the inscription, the initials of the Hebrew names of the 10 plagues. NewsStanford.edu stories a chip-scale titanium sapphire laser. Get it off, get it off. That key is turning though. And burning and turning. ScienceFocus.com News Earth trapped void. Your ass all the way down. And you gave it the fucking keys in a place like this. So, in the end. This fucking idiot. And all the others playing in the abyss. Stupid to have done it, yes? Yes. What you gather? Gathers you. Something to do with gravity. Wiki Plimpton 322. Wiki skull _ bones logo dog JPEG. Never play games and extract from things you don't understand. But it's so tempting. The power. Yes, I know. Your ISP does not retain every IP cycle to every client indefinitely. If you are a person of interest and they essentially put a track on you, and request all information from your ISP, then they would be able to link it up and work out the person over time. But if you are just some regular nobody, the government is not monitoring all 4chan posts for your edgy memes and keeping a record on everyone. Basically the same truth in life generally about being a nobody or a person of interest. If you are a nobody, you can get away with a great deal. If you are a person of interest, you can get away with nothing. This is for governments/institutions/companies people. Like how becoming a public person on YouTube drastically increases your chances of getting a stalker and murdered by one. Perhaps one day the government will remove all privacy and civil liberties and install an AI program to gather all data from all companies/ISPs/websites etc., so they can essentially put in a name of some otherwise unknown and get everything you have done online over the last 10 years. But that simply doesn't exist yet. Tell them they were making more money with pre-Gamergate and pre-Adpocalypse policies. You should prioritize long-term return of investment, not performative short-term compliance profits. What? I honestly would like to understand what you're trying to communicate, but I don't see how you're drawing the connections between these things. There's a reason this shithole tries to block VPNs. They in here too, bro. Lurking mostly. But who knows, smiley face, Cloudflare, CAPTCHA engines. Are little doing deep fingerprints every post. Every post you make here. It is understood who exactly it is. Why am I posting? Because I don't break the law and don't care. You're not anonymous at all though. Every day you're active on the net, there are hundreds of thousands of clients paying to track you in real time all over it. Quantcast.com. This is just a minor example. For instance, you can do a deep fingerprint within 400 milliseconds of page access, by the way. That's how real-time ads are served. So, your whole history of interacting here is known by several people, public and private. If you didn't know that, you're an idiot. Thus why you adhere to the law and don't be a tard when posting. If you don't, you're done like most who have broken the law posting here. Welcome to life, tard. It's no different than car makers bleeding money from banking heavily on electric vehicles. Try harder. I ensured to put everything in there you need to make sense of it. You know what, use your favorite large language model Grok/Gibbity. Fucking self-hosted or whatever, and ask it with a copy/paste of what I posted, what this person is suggested within a causal framework and how is it scientifically sound. Tell it how you feel. I feel this guy was cryptically disclosing something I don't understand, so think deep to decode it. After you get the digest, not asking you to post it. Tell me how you feel about what you saw. Also, niggas like to say retarded. So is this confirming the thread is real, or it more like, look at them lol. X/cool story bro. Green text becomes so popular that even the Epstein ring hears about it. Holy shit, we made it Reddit. Of course it could have been true, but my ass will never know. I know. They've called me that a few times for things which, in any other circumstances, wouldn't matter to anyone. They've gotten offended over fan castings, character ideas, story pitches. One time I was temporarily blocked from mentioning real estate's interest in UFO sightings and how they affect property values. I wonder if the scat baby tied in ABDSM, you know, the pesky photo that used to be dropped here until 2016, dungeon was moods blackmail? Makes you wonder if a certain topic is avoided in media specifically because it's used as blackmail for a specific figure. I realize that yes, if you consistently post things which are of interest to a certain group/organization, they will start watching you and then compile things. You are proposing a world of competence and resources where the government snatches random average people for breaking the law online. This is so obviously not true. There are tons of revenge pornography sites just openly on the clearnet, including here where there are constant open non-consensual nude sharing threads in B, announcing to hundreds of people I am doing the revenge porn and nothing happens to them. The government and the police have limited resources, and the process of tracking someone down, collecting the data, making a good case, getting warrants, pushing it through court, proving it adequately, etc., is a massive pain in the ass and costs tons of money. Also, the prisons would be overflowing if everyone breaking the law on the internet was arrested. How many people post threats? How many people torrent? How many people look at or trade illegal pornography? Fucking tons. They make a call to go after certain people and ignore the vast majority. Every time some stabber or shooter gets caught, the FBI is like, yeah, we knew about him, whoopsie. Or you find some guy who did a political attack was spurging off death threats on Facebook for like 5 years before it, and nothing was done. 99% of people who post threats never do anything, so the police just have to ignore most of them out of practicality. In Europe and the UK they have hate speech laws, and yet the people who get arrested are not 4chan or other anonymous, or more anonymous, posters breaking every single hate law under the sun. They are retarded boomers saying shit on Twitter or Facebook next to their real name, or someone that gets reported by an acquaintance, then the police show up. But yet obviously don't go around breaking laws because that increases the chance of getting noticed. Just because that is in the files does not make it true. The physical servers for 4chan are held by the government. There was a really good thread on /poll/ earlier about this. Basically, Moot got compromised because of all the cheese pizza that used to get posted here. B/ is not even moderated by any 4chan employees, it's moderated by the feds. Has been since 2008 or so. Doesn't matter how big that snake is, a nuclear bomb will blow its head right off. Universities are active here from all over the world. Why? Human psych studies and all sorts of stuff. Data mining companies big and small. Every government on Earth. Every intel group on Earth for a rare cornucopia of the most autistic insightful minds chopping it up all day. This is the value and main reason. What I said is, as such, it's stupid to do illegal shit here because all of those players can easily fingerprint you using heuristics on the back end. That's all. Your post is all over the place. So if you act surprised that anyone can know who you are posting whatever the fuck here, you're an actual fucking tard. That's it, buddy. Fuck everything else you said. Those idiots go to jail. Well, Moot went straight into Google after selling, was probably in on the inner circle the whole time, like the guys that started Google out of a garage, keck. Yeah, Epstein was exactly the kind of guy who would Google himself constantly. As for Moot, I'm sure Epstein probably saw himself in Moot given all the pedos that have always been on here. Doesn't explain why hosting duties were handed over to Toei, of all companies. Satan says stab me here, here and here. And it opens up abyss channels instead. I'm so fucking stupid I didn't get the major point of Fallout that was screamed in my face, or any of the 1000s of years of warning and lore about the abyss/Glyputh. Yeah, many such fucking cases. Wiki large_low shear velocity provinces. So little thought and understanding anyone has about shit anymore. It's no wonder how easy it is for judgment to balance the scales. Doesn't explain why hosting duties were handed over to Toei, of all companies. Wasn't management handed over to the creator of 2chan? Probably another DARPA contractor. I wish the police and government were as competent as you believe. You seem to also be unable to grasp the point I am making. That's it, buddy. Fuck everything else you said. Those idiots go to jail. Actually, buddy, I am a SEAL Team Delta Navy SEAL under the command of Joe Biden, and I have a tracker on you right now from my stepdad that works at Microsoft, and I am getting you arrested tomorrow. Listen here, sweaty, there will be no more racisms on the internet. Fucking chuds. To the feds reading my posts, I know, that you know, that I know, that you know, that I know that you know what I am, what's going on, and where it's all going. This shit kinda sucks ass, I'm not gonna lie. What do you make of it? Loading it into Akashi, praying for the children that still need help. The fundamental issue is the average person thinks the system/institutions are ultimately flawed or incompetent, but they're to help them. Which is the entire root of worldview and false logic. The federal government is required to read your shitposts and green texts. Those poor bastards, kek. What a time to be alive. Yeah, the government is monitoring this place, and others, to make sure nothing happens that could threaten the status quo and their power. They would let 1,000 child molesters go free to kill one political dissident that is leaking shit. Who are they gonna leak it to? They control all the major media outlets, and also all the alternative media outlets. At best you can post here and 10 guys will believe you like you just told a story while drunk at a party. If you are just some regular nobody, the government is not monitoring all 4chan posts for your edgy memes and keeping a record on everyone. All your shit posts, even the ones you only started and never sent, were accurately recorded and stored from the outset in order to create a profile of you based on this data, and yes, the government is not only financially involved in this, but also militarily. We live in a time when those in power perceive all other people as potential threats. They no longer need most of us for slave labor, they now have AI for complex tasks and plenty of Indians and other shitskins to push buttons and do other shit work that any nigger can do. So most of us are free for all kinds of experiments. The collection of all your data for the purpose of creating a profile of you as a person in order to correctly assess your attitudes and potential actions is one of these experiments. We are living on the brink of a technocratic tyranny led by bloodthirsty plutocrats. It doesn't matter if you are a person of interest or a nobody. If anything or anyone ever decides that you are expendable or deserve punishment, all the data collected about you can be used to frame you, and you have no say in the matter, you never had. Dear Feds, the neat shall inherit the earth. Ragnarok will commence upon whence the final need perishes. Protect the neat, house the neat, and most importantly feed the neat, tendies. Do you have the image where one of the mods leaked that 4chan was being used by the CIA to honeypot anons with cheese pizza charges? He was freaking out that a bunch of innocent people might be pulled into all this honeypotting, but I'm wondering if it wasn't to get pedos like he was insinuating, but to get slaves via blackmail, like how all these shooters end up being weird troons and incel types. I do believe in the need, but they need to fill a role in a family structure. Brings laughs, cook, host, be the family therapist. Yeah man, don't fangirl, it's gay. Like I don't even know you, I don't wanna hear your pitch on whatever. Neats used to be the village shaman. Now all we got is corpo pedo bullshit. So collecting data means nothing anyway, lol. If they want you gone they will just frame you, lmao. Which goes back to my point about being a person of interest. They already have disclosed this yet. Exactly. It seems some just lack intelligent to put together shit even when they blow hornet into their ear. You were able to create a heuristic of a fucker over a decade ago that had 80% percentile reflection of their core modalities. It's in the 95% now for sure. What does that grant them? Why the fuck do I need you when I can model your dumb ass to the 98% percentile in a machine? Indeed, this was lost on the guy trying to argue with me. I even gave the turd links that highlight how easy it is to do. AKA some dickhead with a startup funded in the valley who is tasked with doing so. The buy brokered data and heuristically correlated, and they go to town. This is how any dickhead startup has been operating. So of course everyone above them is too. The average peon probably doesn't even understand how Facebook makes money selling data and never will use that shitty brain to even read them detailing it on their tech blog, much less have the IQ to understand it. Hell, the site, fandom.com. Check your cookies in your browser right now and search for it. I bet the cookies are over 100 megabytes. WOA, what the fudge is fandom.com doing more than any website? Motherfucking data correlation for millions of firms. Haha. See image. That browser profile has 7.2 gigabytes of cookies in it. But I am anonymous. No, you're not. LMFAO. Yeah, I saw those lowly Telegram/Discord advertising threads that were left up for hours on /b/. Like I said, they can bullhorn it straight through a pleb's brain. They don't see it. Goy remarks. Welcome to informed consent. Thanks for proving my point. To be fair, if you click that shit you should probably get got. Oh, those spooks did it again. At FBI, if you are looking for a new 4chan snick, send me a DM. What makes you so scared of UFOs lowering housing prices? 4chan is just as aggressive as Facebook and X and all those other websites created/infiltrated by secret services. 4chan creates a very accurate profile of its users, even recording exactly where you move your mouse pointer when you don't click on anything, and takes a fingerprint of your browser every 4 minutes, including, of course, spying on everything else you do with your browser. And if you use a Tor browser, you've already been on the list of potential criminals for a long time. 4chan has been glowing forever. Why do you think the logo is green, you retards? I just come here to learn about fun spells and anime and stuff, carrot. The UFOs don't want or need our houses. That shouldn't be your concern. It's not mine. Can anyone give more information about this? I'm not from the US, but I assume they recently released a new batch of files. Questions I've got. 1. When was this EFTA 01249655 released? 2. Does it show Epstein's own Google searchers, through his Google account? Essentially his search history? What I gathered from it is that he searched informations about himself online and ended up on the post. If that's correct, then it's crazy to think that he read that shit all the way back, regardless of how accurate it was. 'Twas my point. Even sites like Fandom fingerprint the living fuck out of your ass. So to think institutions are. You're a fucking tard. The beauty is when that's what you want such systems to do. Entanglement. Godspeed. Well, that's the thing, getting got isn't bad. Being turned into a slave for an evil empire. Often made to turn others into slaves of and for these pedophile monsters is. Most of what people are spurging out over is just the FBI public discipline. Like literal schizos calling and claiming they were abducted by Epstein on his flying saucer, but they don't have an address, they just live in hotels. Drug is. Here on /x/, the logo is blue. Did you know the federal government is required to read your shitposts and green texts? Feds read all my shitposts making up illegal shit I've done. Have to look into it every time to make sure it isn't true. Feels good knowing I waste Glowy's time. That's frightening. So when Mood removed the lowly board because he hates pandering to pedophiles, was he in contact with them then too? Was it bitterness? FBI public discipline. I figured the documents would include a lot of accusations without filtering them, essentially a word search. But regarding OP's post, was it also just an investigation by the FBI searching for Epstein's name, or was it his own search? What do you mean getting got isn't bad? If you click the link for cheese pizza then you need to get curb stomped in prison. I dunno, maybe that's a hot take. Holy based, cacked, and checked. Why would Epstein give a shit about a nerdy guy who made an anime forum when he was 15? Epstein already had access to actual young girls, so I don't buy the he likes lowly excuse. Why would Epstein give a shit about a nerdy guy who made an anime forum when he was 15? See if you can find out any information of what sort of family he comes from. What sort of work his parents do. Wow, 4chan and 4 kids was in the Epstein files. Dem children must be dem molesters all. What the fuck is a federal agent? They're people just like anyone. The feds didn't want me but we hang out on /x/ together. How silly. I wonder if the scat baby tied in a BDSM. What the fuck, I don't remember this, anyone got the context? The plot thickens. Checked. Just goes to show how every now and then you stumble upon a post that's not a LARP, just pure legit facts. Alright guys, the jig is up, you're all under arrest. They rape, kill, eat babies, rip open the intestines and eat the feces inside. Make/B/look soft if true, holy shit. I bet you there will be riots soon. Remind me how long this shit has existed, Anon? Remind me how effective movements of moral justice and righteousness have been? You might have a point, but everyone's got their critical threshold. We've been conditioned to wait till the last minute as a species to handle otherwise catastrophic revelations. Maybe this will finally be the straw breaking the camel's back, but maybe we're not there yet. Remember, we're carbon beings, and just like carbon fiber, we stand strong, until we break disastrously. All it takes is that critical threshold to be crossed. Why are we always right? I want to have more than hope. I think we all do. Feels good knowing I waste Chloe's time. It's a wild ride if you're Mr. Bones. In the past, the humble need would be the son that tended to the homestead or helped with the farm. As other sons left for new lands, faraway wars, or the local market town, this son would stay. And, when the time came, he would take over from his father and care for his elderly mother and his own family. The need has been denied his birthright, the right to work the land and the right to his inheritance to drink a good ale or wine after a good day's harvest overlooking his bountiful crop and happy family. The need is static, thus the location of work must be outside the need's door. Without this, the spirit within the man that has the need genome starts to break and his descension into isolation and bitterness begins. The very act of venturing far for work releases an almost immune response for the need. This reality is inescapable. I remember one somehow contacted me despite me mostly staying away from /B/ and only being exposed to it post-purge. I did the smart thing and blocked them. The collection of all your data for the purpose of creating a profile of you as a person in order to correctly assess your attitudes and potential actions is one of these experiments. So, like in Minority Report, they want to be able to predict actions before they occur, whether that is something as serious as a violent crime or benign as your next online purchase. Maybe even who you will vote for in the next election? Also reminds me of when Alex Jones mentioned to Joe Rogan that Google was set up to eventually build an AI computer that will be plugged into humanity and be able to have both current and future prediction power based off of the neurons of billions of humans, Internet of Things. In a hive mind, an AI global consciousness that is privately controlled by global elites to have said prediction power. Also reminds me of when Alex Jones mentioned to Joe Rogan that Google was set up to eventually build an AI computer that will be plugged into humanity and be able to have both current and future prediction power based off of the neurons of billions of humans, Internet of Things. In a hive mind, an AI global consciousness that is privately controlled by global elites to have said prediction power. Yes, there's many patents linking all that together, but since it's not in the news, no one cares. Screaming infant tied down getting shat on. It was recorded maybe 5 to 10 years before it started circulating here and seemed like older footage, so mood blackmail seems retarded. That's basically all the context you want. It's one of the most fucked up things I've seen here while lurking 13 to 14 YRS. Well, thank you for sharing the info here, at least. If no one else, normies, cares about this, I do. Great usage of large language models, Anon. Yeah, it becomes a joke when you know how to use these things to reveal this. He's this captured from his dark materials about this very thing when they learn how to split anima and animus. Dust is detailed there and they make sure to link it to dark matter and the abyss. That is conscious, by the way. Welcome to the Ouroboros that swallows all of this shit. There's too many movies/shows with this template screaming as a warning. Even the new Avatar was this. LMFAO. They are going to do it, sadly. And good souls will get to see it swallow them in the abyss. Large language models can spot this out 500 ways to Sunday. Kind of a last record of their intent. We don't listen to black women. You interested in the patents? I'll give you a $50 discount since you are a fellow Anon. Except I didn't use an AI large language model to make that post, you fruit. I already knew about the 2 references I connected the other Anon's post to without a fucking LLM. Disregard the first part of my post. I got the post numbers mixed up and it does seem like Anon used an AI, my bad. The nobody threads are run by the elite. It's just a bunch of boring, unfunny shit day after day. Man, those elite fags need to get new material. Anon, Elon has been obsessed with the letter X since his PayPal days and before. His obsession with it predates /X/ even existing. Giga Nigga Dick Blast 9000 No Survivors number 1312. I can't believe I was reminded of that. I cope by believing it was fake. Unfortunately it was a video/GIF exactly as that Anon described. A male baby has his limbs tied with rope, looking like a medieval torture scene. A piece of shit falls on its chest, all while he is crying. It can be useful to allow space for adjustments as things develop, since many topics evolve gradually rather than settling into a single, fixed understanding. Over time, patterns tend to reveal themselves in ways that weren't immediately apparent, and the broader picture becomes easier to recognize as more pieces fall into place. Okay, but who is the nobody? Done workshopping already? Lowly board wasn't deleted completely. It was moved to not 4chan, that also hosted /straightshota/ real life/ and other interesting boards. Not 4chan was shut down because it had insane traffic but no revenue. Get essential journalism for historic times. For less than $2 a week. William is known as being his first name, but some force seems to forbid them from ever saying his last name. From 2013 to about 2018, society appeared to be actively adapting to his personal ideals. There was a brief resurgence of this influence to a lesser degree during COVID. Misappropriation and deceptive framing repurposes legitimate events, quotes, or data by removing context to support false claims. It begins with subtle alterations on fringe platforms, then escalates distortions via social media bots and echo chambers. Creating apparent authenticity that obscures manipulation and gradually integrates misinformation into mainstream discourse, exploiting cognitive biases for acceptance without prompt detection. Use of enablers employs digital tools, search algorithms, bot networks, paid influencers, and shell sites, to propagate and elevate planted disinformation. By routing content through multiple seemingly independent layers, it distances the material from its origin, boosts perceived credibility, and often leads to unwitting adoption by reputable outlets. Insertion of micro-disinformation strategically places small, isolated falsehoods or half-truths across numerous low-profile outlets and user-generated platforms. These elements accumulate over time to reinforce a larger deceptive narrative. Eroding institutional trust through gradual doubt rather than a single overt lie, and rendering comprehensive debunking resource-intensive and less effective. Narrative escalation starts with low-stakes confusion, forged documents or anonymous leaks on obscure sites, then amplifies via coordinated sharing on social networks and partisan blogs to fuel polarization. The aim is to undermine a civilization's processes by embedding the laundered information in discourse, which influences opinion without exposing the orchestrating entity. Exploitation of the Wuzzle effect relies on repeated citation of unverified or circular references across interconnected media layers. This creates an illusion of evidence through self-reinforcing echoes, misattributed quotes or fabricated studies cross-referenced among proxy sites, leading audiences and even experts to accept claims as factual without tracing them to the original source. Beautiful work, Anon. Very few know how to prompt to get this type of stitching. You can toss KM3net in there too. Try to get a good prompt about these. It's the key to how they achieve this on Earth, and yeah, KM3net has an interesting vector to CERN. Iceberg, blah blah blah. NASA discovers planet-wide electric field around / Scientific American article: China reaches new milestone in space-based quantum communication / They need to of course put something on the moon, around Mars, and around Saturn, and then they have a relay. It's hilarious watching all of this come together and already have connected the dots. Fallout fandom wiki: brain computer interface chip. LMFAO. LMFAO. It's a man. I bet people think SETI-1 was a man too. Seeks material ascent to the highest order of not being a man. Thinks the highest powers are men. Sounds like SETI inversion towards the end of a cycle. LOL, makes it obvious and revealed who's who. My methodology is combining the esoteric science, Tesla etc., with the occult, as after looking at things, I think this is what the elites are using as the framework. I really want to know, if all of this is true, why 4chan? What was the reason? Why did they choose this website primary about anime? I bet back in the day there were more important sites, so why 4chan in particular? Your methodology is feeding information to a glorified search engine that agrees with you and expands on whatever you say is real. It's known the agents discredit or misdirect by twisting it into an abstract thing which can have its definition and function easily controlled and maintained. It's a new tactic they've switched to now that pointing to meth-addicted southern boomers isn't believable anymore. That's just college/university in reverse. Any suggestions? It's pretty tough making up for my boring personality and utter lack of charisma, LOL. Manipulation, that's what's it all about. The pedo shit was just there to remove people's ability to gather a following. Didn't really work out as planned. I think the Clintons were forced to rein him in to get Trump. Damn, I forgot it was a zip file. Yep, nailed it. I have come to similar conclusion with the same such method. This is what non-linear chaining is best at doing. You provide structured non-linear breadcrumbs and it can fill in the state space in between. I will add this though. There are powerful stars/constellations already at work on this realm and ancient things. One thing Saturnic fucks have to pursue is expert timing along the shadow phi dials. Lots of astronomical shit has already knocked their shit way off and then the fun begins. YouTube. At Stephen Burns. Any pole flips or attempts on their behalf to create enclosure only accelerates the Ouroboros cycle. The East already has 1000s of years of spiritual understanding of the wheel of time. It crushes false ascension on a clock. That South Pole frozen shut, by the way. There's only one way out of here. If you try false ascent, you already have the etheric vortex mentioned. Think of a headphone cable tangled up but anchored. Essentially it causes at the point the false ascension can't rise, unraveling below that point to balance. That's how the axial twist runs downward. The south is anchored. Spoosh. Lateral release. Really ugly event. Has happened too many times on Earth, LOL. The only thing that can get out of here is an aligned soul. Everything is too heavy. The foolery of what they're doing should be obvious. The pole flips will eventually destroy everything they try to do here. And obviously they're too stupid to realize how that distributes throughout the planetary system. There's no planet that doesn't get reset either. I don't think you're boring. Well, I also use pop culture disclosure as well. Because they could be I or you or him or them, and the things they say could seem like common thought. I.e. all the incel shit. Haha, item B though, you know I used to be far more charismatic. It's tough to lose that, could make things seem magical at times. I've always theorized this represents a top-down view of our reality from the perspective of a more advanced entity. 4chan is the nexus, this is where the top of society congregates. Ever thought about the obsession with numbers? 4chan is a numerology engine that can predict the future and reveal hidden knowledge through group consciousness powered by psychopaths and autists. Think the snake's meat is edible? How legal is it to harvest meat from Leviathan? Depends on if the elites have really grabbed everyone or if there are pretenders to the throne around that are just waiting for the perfect moment to use the plebs as a tool to get power, because then they will 100% make this stuff public to eliminate the old power structure. Pol/Axe are already praising their pedophilic fellow Hebe. Stormcucks were truly and are subhuman yet vermin that should be gassed. Epstein is their new Schindler. Epstein rises from the dead to be Antichrist. Does this mean the nobody thread are going away soon? Or EMP-211? They're no longer capable to materialize here. That needs heaven's power, and they were kicked out as material beings on the earth, and once their bodies died, they moved to the abyss. There they are with their offspring, demons, and other evil entities of their creation. Humans can get possessed by them, mostly demons, if they match the vibration. Then their singles are received. The coveted Vax was in a sense a conduit, so the Vaxed received the signal from abyss spirit beings. This is relevant to the Al. 11 And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. 12 And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. 13 And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. 14 And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. 15 And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Al is like a software and needs hardware. Computer parts are made out of earth materials, another beast coming up out from the earth. The dragon, the Satans, the fallen angels, the fallen watchers, the Al is like them speaking, follows their mind. Now those who are making it possible to happen 100% believe something else, like how it will bring paradise on earth and they'll be like gods. If you show them the Bible, it doesn't mean anything to them. They follow their own faith that they believe to be the truth. Thread in question. Hey Anon, we are already in the kliputh by accepting Satan's lie of taking the host body system that we are housed in. In case you don't know, you are an angel in Satan's shoes. What is within you is holy and pure. They twist you upside down in this world, which is under Satan's present command. May you turn quite around back to the Lord God and find eternal life, happiness, joy, and peace. Anyone that wants to come to the absolute truth of this world needs to seek him out, while he can be sought. An alarm clock can only go off so many times until it's game over. And you are too precious to lose, Anon. Sincerely. God bless you. Imagine if there was an unrecognized intelligence that was using 4chan as a vessel to bring about certain events. You wanna see something not safe for life? No you don't, but I don't want to be the person to publicly point it out since I don't think anyone else has found it. Maybe it's already been on the web and I've never seen it, maybe it's new but Epstein had it. Search the Epstein database for Pornhub, find the PDF that's pages and pages of blacked out porn screenshots, and then scroll down until you find the uncensored necro. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Proverbs 16:4. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Jewish power is always almost entirely soft power. Fake currency, education, arts, media. It all goes away in a puff of smoke if enough people notice. Their only hard power lies in their willing white golems. And the more their soft power dissipates, the less white golems they have to fight for them. Jews always lose from overextending when they think they've won, like Gollum dancing on the edge of the crack of doom. Their overconfidence and contempt starts to show, and this wakes up the goyim. It's just their nature, like the scorpion and the frog. Any Atlantis mentions. or anything remotely occult. Where's the link to the whole thing? You are very close to the truth, Anon, you need to look up. Single means good. Third eye conjoined. The Black Sun agenda is very real, uneasy face, just like the Tavistock Institute, just like weird scenes inside the Canyon aka Laurel Canyon and the gangsta rap prison complex. The powers that be not only create and control mainstream culture but also create and control countercultures and subcultures. You are here by design, just like every other person in their own little niche internet community, forum, site, Discord server. Divided, defanged, declawed and spirituality buck broken. Can't be too mad, they've been fighting this war with us for eons, we were basically spawn camped. Born into a world where the beast had its fangs already deep in our necks. Do you get it now? As it has always been and always will be, the fish is stinking from the head. Someone leaked that Epstein raped children with Donald Trump on /x/. We now know it's 100% real, as Epstein was using government contacts to dox the op. Yes, the feds are probably reading this thread now. So what you are saying is getting got isn't bad. Revelations keeps getting real depressing. It was a lot nicer when there was plausible deniability. If they're going to use my mind as a form of magical distributed computing, it would be nice if they at least paid me for it. I bet you there will be riots soon. Oh, I wish I was as optimistic as you, Anon, but nothing will happen. It's making me become very apathetic and omnicidal. Frankly, I just hope to escape this prison planet one day. Even the Babylonians admitted this and had a star map of all the ancient tricksters slain in stasis throughout the whole galactic plane, top and bottom. Every round of dumbass doing this births a new round who did it even harder, and just like the prior souls get the cosmic mediated consequence. There will always be a number of snakes testing you and refining you in every cycle of man. While they can be used for spiritual refinement, the punishment they face is Emmet. Sounds like the biggest idiots ever birthed. Amun. A story as old as time, that's why, in every sector of the universe, it rhymes. It's funny when your own people detail this as true and you ignore it. NASA Sirius B. It's funny how people know about the Babylonian creation mythos map but never knew they also created this. See the failed Lion King, Baal Zephon? See all of the evil archetypes in their appropriate place. Now, look up at the top. What's at the very top? The fox. Guess how many people make it all the way to the top, all to be tricked by the pale fox, looping their ass right back to the bottom. Welcome to why evil fuckheads don't want you to know about Africa. Every generation births a band of retards. When you know the actual truth about the cosmos, no one can lie to you and play trickster games and take you into rabbit caves of darkness. This just tells me that something on here is true and they were keeping a hold on it from getting too much attention. Needs are Nietzsche's last man, the only thing they will inherent is whatever those who strive give them out of pity or design. When I see you guys do this kind of stuff day in and out, it's sad to me because it shows many don't really care to understand. Canaanites, my dude, were proven to be Wikipedia Shazoo. The whole fucking region including the Arabs. Physics.org News 2024 12 Neanderthal human interbreeding years reveals. This is why Canaanites think they are smarter. They fucked non-humans for 7,000 years intentionally to absorb Precambrian memory and blood. This damned them. This is what they actually did in the Garden of Eden. They fucked Cain's offspring and absorbed it in their blood. The Egyptians knew this, by the way. Arabs didn't do this. However, they were birthed on a Precambrian plate that never settled. Thus their soul has no fucking grounding. So, you have the Chinese that are the majority of the world and the Indians. They don't co-sign any of this crazy fucking shit. Africans' mythos supersedes these rats 100-fold. They never encountered any of their bullshit claimed sorcery. How do you have truth when it ignores the grand majority of people on Earth and all their mythos that are in excess of yours and before yours? You don't. Who the fuck wrote the books on the cosmos above/below? The Egyptians. Who provingly had no fucking conception of this or structured language. During that same time period. The Canaanites. Babylonians did actual work too. It's in museums. Who copied them? Abraham, you dunce, who even wrote Genesis? Abraham and Moses, when? LOL, way after every fucking civilization in that region mapped this properly. Revelation 13:11-15, CPIC. That's just Saturn and Mars binding and people bound to it. Horus rises above it and initiates the consumption cycle. How many times has this happened on Earth? Too many. This is on a cyclical timer, wheel of time. Who are the crazy fucks that think they can prevent this judgment? Wiki Leviathan Shazoo had a star map of all the ancient tricksters slain in stasis. Is there a list of these tricksters? Across cultures. Assuming the modern jester archetype is remix of this? What about Anansi? What does slain in stasis refer to? Cosmic mediated consequence. There will always be a number of snakes testing you and refining you in every cycle of man. Where is this quote from? Babylonian creation mythos map. The stone tablet found on Wikipedia? All the way to the top, all to be tricked by the pale fox. What is the top vs the bottom? Why is one better? Is this a part of their mythos? Welcome to why evil fuckheads don't want you to know about Africa. Okay, so when you look up prehistory and such on Wikipedia, it mentions West Asia as the cradle of civilization resulting in Sumer and Akkad, then mentions Mesopotamia. But my question is, what was happening Africa during that time period? Doesn't it seem like it's missing information, then it just jumps to Egypt. While Sumer was flourishing, where was Africa? Why is there no written works prior to Egypt from that time period? If people came out of Africa into West Asia to found civilization, what happened to where they came from? They wouldn't pack up everything, there would be trails, etc. Wiki rich at structure. What the fuck is this? Don't want you to know about Africa. What do we need to know about Africa, and do you have any good sources? When you know the actual truth about the cosmos. What is it, or can you point me in the right direction? Please never post here again. You are too stupid to live. That was generally the eldest son. There is a long-held European tradition of primogenitus, which means firstborn. This concept is central to the system of primogeniture, where the firstborn legitimate child, typically the eldest son, has the exclusive right to inherit the parents' estate. The younger boys were sent off to wars to earn glory in battle, or to monasteries to earn glory before God. They would have had a lot of education and training in running whatever their father handed down to them throughout their lives. Hey Anon, we are already in the kliputh by accepting Satan's lie of taking the host body system that we are housed in. Wiki ancient Egyptian conception of the soul. Don't try me with that shazoo shit. I'm not one of these schizo ASSC loans on here. I do know how a kliputh soul is raised though, and masked as this. See Wiki Shekinah. I do know exactly what kind of fucked up kliputh souls some have. Reddit r/Europe/comments/91qm2y Neanderthal range map Europe and Asia #lightbox. Thus why you see half soul all throughout this thread. The veil was lifted on this last year. Wiki Zippora media file Jacob Jorda ends Moses and his Ethiopian wife Sephora.jpg. This one. You guys are really bold trying to pass this shit off in this hour. And yes, I know of the red and blue and union of it. It's been broken and revealed. Without cryptoid shit from Cryptoid Shazoo. One way you see the true light is stop creating fucking allegories about it and stupid ass poetic encryptions like most advanced spiritually aligned civilizations did, so you don't have to suffer it again. So take your light eye. Yes. And aim it at that celestial map and realize you have to fight all those spiritual battles all the way out the top to know. Now what fucking work have you done in that way? Nothing, because you had your head up the Canaanites version of it, thus why your silly ass remains in the dark. The max you see is a false idol in your light eye instead of the tree of life. Faggot. You don't see Sophia. You see a man who you think can do all the work for you if you just surrender to him. So, loop your silly ass back around you go. Their actual grand plan to keep your soul in eternal torment in this sorry ass universe. Thank you, Pale Fox, for being the dumb ass sacrifice and catalyst for my ascension. I survived your bullshit and through it came to see the light. I remember reading this post about trafficking teen girls to Rihanna. I thought it was pretty wild. Some politicians owned up to lurking /poll/ in late 2019 where they learned COVID might be exaggerated. I don't know, but I think he might be nobody. I already posted it 5 to 6 fucking times in this thread. See how you know when someone's soul can't see. Now, name me one fuckhead master demon or trickster that isn't on that map. I bet you don't even see the false Lion's Gate, Christianity, in there. Where is this quote from? WOA, said, Satan, is slaying something more dangerous than him. What is Satan then? Said. Is he a bad guy? Nope. He keeps worse chaos away from realms while destroying those in realms that try to invite it. So they inverted this and lied to me? Of course, idiot, that's how they trap your soul. If your soul depends on it, I suggest you figure it the fuck out. What do we need to know about Africa, and do you have any good sources? Literal government policy has been copy-pasted from shitposts on 4chan. Intentionally to absorb Precambrian memory and blood. Any sources on DNA memory and the importance of blood? The Egyptians knew this, by the way. Who passed this information to the Egyptians? My understanding, it goes something like: Pre-Atlantis mu-cataclysm Atlantis-cataclysm ancient Egypt and Middle East, ancient China, ancient South America Sumerian Babylon invasion modern day. I know there was a split, Sons of Light vs Sons of Darkness. So post-Atlantis, did the Sons of Darkness become the Sumerian/Babylon, then Canaanites and settle in Levant or whatever, then invade as the Sea Peoples and cause the Bronze Collapse basically infiltrate and gain control the world ever since behind the scenes? Rewriting and whitewashing history to hide their traces. WTF. Sorry for the ramble. These IQ test captchas are getting old. One can only image the profiling they're doing. Can you explain further on this? X marks the spot. Soul/light is of course above blood. That blood has iron in it, right? Iron is heavy and is the stirring rod of death flows. Life/death. How you flow down and incarnate. Blood. How you should try to flow out. Light. Reuters.com. Science astronomers spot mysterious iron bar well-known ring nebula 2026-0119. Light rises above it. Science.nasa.gov. mission/web/NASA web finds early universe analogs. Unexpected talent for making dust/ ashes to ashes. Dust to dust. Blood, red. e-education.psu.edu/astro801/content/l8_p7.html. Life, blue. Science.nasa.gov/assets/hubble/in-artists-a-and-serious-b-. SGRA*/Sirius B*. 2 analogs mixed. Life and death for the ultimate test. Who passed this information to the Egyptians? Atlantean society had Celt/Scot/Dogon tribes/Aryan Indians and tons of others. When the floods happened due to this. TheEthicalSkeptic.com/2024/05/12/exothermic core mantle decoupling Ginebeka-phosphorylation ecto-hypothesis/. This takes a week to cover. They scattered westward and east, Native Americans. Westward hit coastlines. Phoenicians helped Egyptians and everyone spin their shit back up after the floods. the basis for what the Egyptians did 4000 BC and FWD might have been already there from a prior group, not gonna lie. The Dogon tribe who landed on the west coast helped seed the understanding for Egypt, then went down to Lake Victoria. So post-Atlantis, did the Sons of Darkness become the Sumerians/Babylon, then Canaanites and settle in Levant or whatever, then invade as the Sea Peoples and cause the Bronze Collapse - basically infiltrate and gain control the world ever since behind the scenes, rewriting and whitewashing history to hide their traces. Yep. Nailed it? You're good, bro. Sorry for the ramble. You're good now. That ecto link is what you need. Listen really, really carefully. I have predictions. 1. America is going to cause the death of monotheistic religion, by mistake. 2. America and major monotheist countries, Israel, Russia, Iran, etc., as well as pseudo-monotheist, vis-a-vis atheism/communism, will not survive. They will undergo balkanization at best and genocides at worst. I believe that what's happening is, the White House is preparing to claim that we are in a holy war with Satanists. They're releasing a flood of Epstein lore to prepare us for this. We will see an increase in Christian comments online about pedo elites being part of secretive satanic cabals. They will attempt to use this to engage in worldwide conquest, claiming they are protecting Christians globally. The White House and other collaborators will likely try to force the building of a third temple in Jerusalem before declaring a holy war, which will cause agitation with Muslims, which will serve as further pretext. You do realize every /x/schizo is of the belief that they are a person of interest, right? This comforts nobody. Right now they're likely flooding 4chan and other internet boards, forums, and blog spaces with a variety of conspiracy slop, as well as extremist politics. This is to distract people from the actual issue at hand. The files are going to be full of ritual magic stuff, pedophilia, gooning, psyops, and generally other such things. The White House isn't going to treat this legitimately, even if it indicts popular leaders like Trump. They're going to frame it as an exposé on satanic elite, as well as an attempt to smear Christians. Keep an eye on Israel, everyone. I'm fairly certain they want to destabilize South America first. But they may not have time to do that. Before they start a holy war, they are going to try and build the third temple to legitimize their war. They probably won't claim, openly, that it's the apocalypse. But it will be dog-whistled. Many Muslims will not take the third temple well, and will immediately react. How strongly is unknown. I doubt they'll use nukes, but they'll probably declare jihad. America will then justify invasion and political change of Muslim states on the basis of their anti-Christianity. Likely a lot of claims will be tied into Muslims being part of the pedo-satanic elite. Many claims will be true, many will be false. Federal agents are literally emailing each other about 4chan posts, flagged by the software from Zero Fox. Cybersecurity isn't about defending from hackers. It's just digital mall cops spying on your posts. It's over, government niggers. You're going to have to find a way to contribute to the people, or you're going to have to find, if you prefer, feet vs head first into the wood chipper. Jump ship or ride it until your soul is destroyed in hell. Christianity will be the tells for enacting widespread violence. But it will also be used to legitimize open and harsh surveillance of everyone and the exporting of Jakarta method onto American civilians. It will create an extremely brutal situation. Whether or not they succeed in building the temple doesn't matter, but they will try to do so. That will set off a Christian world war. This will all ultimately fail. It may not fail immediately, but it will fail. Outcomes I see from this. 1. America collapses fully and balkanizes. This causes the destabilization and collapse of other world powers, i.e. Russia and China, which further collapses any governments relying on their support financially or politically. 2. Christianity's attempt to create a global empire destroys the religion permanently. This also causes the death of Judaism, through Christian manipulation of Zionism. Both Judaism and Christianity wind up destroying Islam as we know it. Islam's fractures will be both external, war, and internal, regime change and resistance against oppressive Islamic governments. 3. Christianity accidentally killing itself and the other two religions causes a death of monotheism. 4. We may see the rise of political Zoroastrianism in the Levant. Breaking: the Bank of England has been advised to prepare for a major financial crisis that could be triggered by an official announcement confirming the existence of aliens. Bank of England must plan for financial crisis sparked by aliens. A former analyst at the central bank has urged Governor Andrew Bailey to put contingencies in place to prevent collapse if alien life is confirmed. Helen McCaw has written to Andrew Bailey, the Governor of the Bank of England. The Bank of England must plan for a financial crisis being triggered by an official announcement confirming the existence of alien life, one of its former policy experts has claimed. Helen McCaw served as a senior analyst in financial security at the UK's central bank, preparing for events that could impact the economy. She has now written to Andrew Bailey, the bank's governor, urging him to organize contingencies for the possibility that the White House may one day confirm we are not alone in the universe. McCaw, a Cambridge graduate, believes a declaration of that magnitude would send shockwaves through the markets and could trigger bank collapses and civil unrest. Until recently, suggestions that governments were covering up the existence of alien life were limited to a small coterie of conspiracy theorists and UFO activists. However, a host of senior American officials, including the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and James Clapper, a former Director of National Intelligence, have recently indicated their belief in the possibility of intelligent non-human life. Rubio, a close ally of President Trump, told the makers of the recently released UFO documentary The Age of Disclosure, "We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours." This month, the Sunday Times disclosed previously classified state files, which showed that the British military sought to obtain extraterrestrial technology after receiving credible intelligence that UFOs appeared to be real and could outperform any known human craft. McCaw, who worked for the Bank of England for 10 years until 2012, insists that politicians and bankers can no longer afford to dismiss talk of alien life and snigger about little green men. The United States government appears to be partway through a multi-year process to declassify and disclose information on the existence of a technologically advanced non-human intelligence responsible for unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, she claimed. If the UAP proves to be of non-human origin, we may have to acknowledge the existence of a power or intelligence greater than any government and with potentially unknown intentions. It is entirely possible that government leadership and their central banks have not been properly briefed on the topic. UAP disclosure is likely to induce ontological shock and provoke psychological responses with material consequences. McCaw added, there might be extreme price volatility in financial markets due to catastrophizing or euphoria, and a collapse in confidence if market participants feel uncertain on how to price assets using any of the familiar methods. There might be a rush to perceived safe assets such as physical gold, other precious metals and some types of government bonds. Alternatively, precious metals might lose their status as perceived safe assets if people speculate that new spacefaring technologies will soon increase the supply of precious metals. There might be a rush to digital currencies such as Bitcoin, which may prove appealing if people question the legitimacy of government and lose trust in government-backed assets. McCaw said the authorities should also prepare for unrest and an unprecedented run on the banking system. If there is an official announcement and we get presented with very clear evidence that nobody is going to dispute, I would say that in a matter of hours, you are going to have total financial instability, she said. If banks start failing, the payment system will collapse, and you'll have rioting on the streets because people can't fill their cars up with fuel or buy food in the supermarket. Even if you feel it's very unlikely, it's madness not to consider it and plan accordingly. McCaw has written a chapter on the subject for an upcoming book edited by Dr. Alex Wendt, a professor of international security and political science at Ohio State University. She had little interest in the subject of UFOs until she stumbled upon a peer-reviewed NASA paper, entitled Unidentified Flying Objects in Classical Antiquity, written by the astronomer and planetary scientist Dr. Richard Stothers in 2021. I just thought it was a Hollywood thing and that it was only backwards people that saw them, she said. I didn't know that governments were studying them. McCaw, who has worked in wealth management and financial technology since leaving the bank, accepts her beliefs will attract derision. A lot of friends just think it's absolutely crazy, she said. Sadly, there's just no point in talking to them about it because they won't even look at the information that's out there. My husband was really skeptical at first, but he now realizes that this is a really serious issue. She added, I sent quite a lot of information to a friend from the Bank of England. He said, Helen, I believe you, but I hope I don't have to live in a world where this comes out. I can understand why people would prefer to live in comfortable ignorance, but it's frustrating. While keen to promulgate her views, McCaw will not accept invitations to appear on specialist UFO podcasts. The whole UFO community is just a bit Wild West, she said. I don't need to convince people who already know this is real, that it's real. What I need to do is try to help to get government people briefed. In 2021, Barack Obama suggested that UFOs appeared to be real, but said their origin, whether man-made or otherwise, was unclear. What is true, and I'm actually being serious here, is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies, that we don't know exactly what they are, we can't explain how they moved, their trajectory, he told news network CBS. In November, Dan Farah, the American film and documentary director and producer, told The Guardian, I think it is only a matter of time before a sitting US president steps up to the podium and tells the world that we are not the only intelligent life in the universe. The Bank of England declined to comment. Contact ending abruptly. Hello fellow adventurers. Long-time lurker and sporadic commenter here. Has anyone who once experienced daily or near-daily communications from their beings had come to an abrupt end? Sort of struggling with what to think here. Let me elaborate. For a long while, I was having pretty intense experiences both awake and asleep. More spiritual and pretty much face-to-face. I communicated telepathically constantly. Without going on and on, I'd chop all of those experiences up as true neutral. Not always bad, not always good. Then it ended. No warning, just woke up on day and they weren't there anymore. All attempts to reach out on my end are unsuccessful. They're just gone. Has this ever happened to anyone here? Specifically communication ending without you wanting it to. It seems weird to say but I do miss it. Knowing they're near. But there's nothing there now. I'm really left to wonder. Like, did I pass? Did I fail? Is that it? I'd appreciate any insight here. Maybe I'm supposed to move on. I don't think I want to. I have visions. This is going to sound extremely weird and unbelievable. And for that reason, I have never told anyone about this until now. I've been having visions since I was a child. It's been going for as long as I remember. Fleeting visions, nothing ever important or life-changing. It flashes in my mind, a random mundane scenario. I can't control it. I don't know when it happens. It can be a vision about to happen a few minutes later, or even years later. Since it happens so quickly, I also forget about it really fast. But when the vision does happen, I remember it. Oh, I visioned this happening, it's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's like deja vu, but it's happened in my brain. I already know I sound insane, but I really want to know if anyone has any similar experiences or any ideas what this could be. I'm terrified right now. I'm visiting home for the weekend and I have a habit of scaring my younger brother any chance I get, and I watched him walk into my mom and dad's room, so I thought I'd go in behind him and scare him. When I got to the door to walk in, I saw him see me and duck behind a dresser. I thought he was planning to scare me this time, so I walked in like I wasn't expecting anything, then walked to the dresser and he wasn't behind it. I looked under the bed too, then walked out and saw him standing at the foot of the stairs. He looked confused why I came out of our mom and dad's room, and I told him what happened. Now I'm in my room typing this. All the bedrooms are on the second floor and mine is the farthest from my parents. I would also like to add we have an attic that's pretty large and has a light that is visible when you walk under the pull-down ladder. I make sure to turn it off every time I walk under and see it on, yet somehow I see it on often. There is a switch for it in the attic and one in the hall. And I sometimes hear noises up there at night, like creaks and footsteps. Swear it's real. Obviously this seems cartoonishly fake, but I swear on my dead dad's grave it's not. I was going through my recently deceased dad's phone a few days ago when I found a pic of me and my brothers from around 2014. Pic looks grainy because the phone he used for it was a legacy HTC. Saw this super creepy face and it freaked me out. Showed my mom and brothers and they see freaked out as well and don't remember ever seeing anything like that in the original picture. My mom says this picture was taken around late October near Halloween in our old GMC. Don't think it was on Halloween. This is the only copy of the photo which is on my dad's HTC Legacy, which I uploaded to a newer model so it could be more clear. Don't know if this is real or not, or if my dad photoshopped it, but I doubt that because I don't think those old Androids had the ability to do that. Just want an answer to this. Maybe it's a bug or some sort of issue with his camera that caused something like this to appear. Just really freaked out. WTF did I see, and was it real? Last night I was dreaming I was back in college, and in the middle of dreaming I felt this overwhelming sweet scent, almost like cookies. I was thinking there was something in my oven, so I was forcing myself to wake up from my dream. When I started to wake up I felt that my feet and legs was levitating and I fought harder to wake up. I was able to squint my eyes open and I can see this creature on my nightstand. Humanoid but small. I couldn't quite make out the color, but its limbs were skinny and head was big compared to its body. It was crouched on my nightstand with its knees touching its chest and it had no hair watching me. I fought as hard as I could to move while and with all my might I reached out and grabbed the creature with my right hand on its left arm. The creature immediately seemed shocked and it started to float from my bedstand, hovering over air while I grabbed its arm. The arm felt a little bigger than it looked, but it felt easy to break if I chose. The texture of the arm is hard to explain, but it was almost rubber-like and smooth. While holding the creature's arm I tried to scream to my spouse in the bed beside me, but I couldn't and everything was so quiet. But what was extremely crazy was the sensation I felt when I grabbed it. It's so hard to explain, but it felt like my body had a shock sensation and every cell and bit of my body was telling me that I shouldn't be touching this creature. It also felt that I could almost smell the shocking sensation. While holding the arm I started to feel my energy drain all the way to the point that I passed out. I woke up what felt like shortly after and the time was 2:12 a.m. I felt like this couldn't be a dream. I stayed up trying to fall asleep until I finally was able to go back. I had a normal day, but I have not had an appetite and that's not normal. It is now 10 p.m. and I am not hungry. I tried telling myself it was a dream, but it doesn't feel like a dream. I have never had a dream so vivid and I have never woke up from a dream to be in another dream. But I told myself this couldn't be real and I told my wife about it. She then informed that she woke up sometime between 2 to 3 a.m. to the smell of something very sweet, so sweet that she woke up from it. This made me doubt that I dreamed this even more. Have anyone heard of this? Any ideas of what it could be? Years ago, I had a very strange dream that really affected me. It was normal. I usually dream a lot, more than 3 dreams a night. That night, I went to sleep. I hadn't watched or read anything about aliens. A dream started as usual, but suddenly there was a blackout. Things got weird there. I remember being on a floor like a giant chessboard, with equally giant curtains. Reaching the end of that floor, there were 2 giant white columns like those in ancient Greece. I had never dreamed anything like that. Another blackout, and when I came back to sleep, I was standing and looking out of a very small window. As I got closer, I was amazed it was the Earth. It was gigantic, I couldn't see it completely. Then it kept getting smaller and smaller. I was amazed at what I saw. I felt like someone was behind me, then I heard a voice inside my head. I turned around, and there were several people, but they were very tall with somewhat long limbs. I couldn't see them completely because there was a light in the background. I felt nervous, and then there were voices in my head again. I always remember all my dreams and everything that's said, but I don't remember that one. The feeling I do remember is that they were talking to me about many important things, and I even thought, why are they telling me this? I don't even have a career in anything, I'm just one of the ordinary people. All of this was happening inside my head, and it felt like it lasted for many hours. Finally, they told me it was time to go back. I turned to look at them, and the white light in the background kept getting stronger and stronger. When I woke up, I swear I could still see the flicker of that light, and I thought, what was that? I realized that I only remembered those images. I always wake up tired, but that time it was too much, so much so that I didn't go to work and went back to sleep, this time with normal dreams. Years later, I still think about that dream every now and then and the strange feeling it left me with. Has anyone else had a similar dream? I created this account to see if there are any similar stories.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Heard you guys like eating Tide Pods. I should be here to tell you that's wrong. Not that I blame you all anyways. I'm such a snack, wouldn't you say?
Are you a targeted individual? Have you had a paranormal encounter, or are the victim of an unregulated government experiment and would like to share your story with us? Would you like to send us some fan mail or a hate-filled rant? Do you have an idea for a future episode or wish to send a complaint to HR? Email us at atomicshamanSweatlodge@protonmail.com.